However, as we grab above Florida's Tampa Bay on a magnificent November night, I eagerly get above the controls of the Icon A5, a couple-seater amphibious aircraft. How looks love a sport vehicle, maneuver love a jet ski, and is so intuition. The business says how, though a disciple can find out to fly it in less than rather than 30 several hours. Intended to assist you attention on the liberty of flyer out of anxious if the aircraft will respond incalculably, down there's anything else rather love it on the marketplace. Now how I'm in monitoring, my entire flesh tenses for a nice 5 protocol. Am I very prepared to airman the brilliant new car all by myself? I'm not completely certainly. Yet, I get convenience in the reality how the A5 was constructed particularly for human beings love me, and it was intended to driving love a vehicle. Advantage, the reality how Icon's CEO and founding member, Pick Hawkins, is following to me in the Kubrick doesn't wound each. He can get above the controls at any period. We sliding swimmingly via the air at on 1,000 feet, and I'm convenient quite to get in the sights. Beautiful Fortress de Soto Garden doesn't frustrate. Squiggles of pensive white dunes are enclosed by water supply. How looks love it should be in the Caribbean. For starters, down there's else Icon A5 to my leftward, that is exciting in by itself. We are flyer informing, and my job is to imitate its movements. You'd believe the would be frightening, but it's no. How's piece of music to Hawkins' ears? He's the brains over the newfangled aircraft, and concept 10-year in the manufacturing. As a ex-Air Strength F-16 airman and a Stanford Industry High School grad, he has concentrated largest of his age lifetime on manufacturing kind of sports flyer accessible to the rank. The concept for us was to build an plane wherever the ordinary humane creature can go out and expertise the planet out of possessing the load of proper a vocational airman, he says. So it makes feeling how the toolbar looks love which you see in your vehicle. Down there are just a few gauges how I don't identify. It's the poem attitude to things, he says. You humanize it, and do it intuition and lightweight and cold. He's so sure human beings will wish to fly, or purchase, his planes how he fare outdoor a flying training installation at Peter O. Cavalier Airport. Arranged on Davis Isle, 5 Protocol of Center Tampa, it's a location wherever both of beautiful and sailboats overflow. Hawkins conducted above the controls. I've been too lively training to fly informing, no thing non-pilots get to try really frequently, and interview Hawkins to though believe on training to do a water supply disembarkation by myself. It's thing Hawkins tells me largest human beings can wizard in on 30 protocol. A few adverse GS and 360 extent turns after and it becomes a fun roller coaster trip in the heaven. Advantage, it's an outdoor air flying, so I sometimes go over my weapon of fare since I can. At a few 100 feet over the water supply, it's lightweight to place a boatman flapping at us, a herd of pelicans and those stingrays. Certainly he's kidding, order. But following disembarkation the aircraft on the water supply, he conducted off his seat belt, and I understand he's no. Seconds after, he pop music the rooftop and we climb up on the Inspire, that could readily duel as divers boards. Abruptly, the feels less than love a aircraft excursion and more than love I'm on a ship tanning. All is filled in a fascinating gold shade. I can think picnicking on the bathing beach neighboring. Or take the aircraft sometime for a remotely weekend campsite travel. The whole item is on inspirational human beings, he explains. One day you find out to flight, you will never be the identical. You will see at the sky various, you will see at the earth various. The initial engine skills for operational aircraft are cute lightweight, Hawkins tells me. We include human beings disembarkation by themselves in and teacher on their really at first date, during 30 protocol. How told, they've carefully undertaken the period to style it for security. The purpose of the rotation-resistant airframe characteristic is how if the airman makes mistakes, the plane doesn't miss monitoring. The rotation impedance characteristic is a big transactions, as it's the at first plane how the FAA has recognized rotation resistant, says Chris DePan, a flying teacher and U.S. Air Strength official. A considerable quantity of general aircraft loss of life are of losing of monitoring accidents how engage in unrecovered rotation on the basis to definitive rotate. Advantage, down there's the corner of assault index, thing you don't characteristically see in a lighting plane. It shows you wherever the fender is lucky, in the verdant, or wherever it could kiosk, in the scarlet. The airman's job is to hold the fender during the verdant or amber chapter of the measuring device. The is portion of which makes water supply takeoffs and fishing so lightweight to find out. Pick Hawkins has an very artistic and pioneering concept for airmen learning how is more than intuition, training the sense of flying at first and the principles and pattern after, not in comparison with how human beings find out to driving, says Christine Negroni, vet aircraft reporter and writer of The Collapse Detectives. The planet is cladding a airman lack, so the concept of training otherwise, so how various training styles can be located could really so extend the swimming pool of airman candidates. On how mention, on 40% of the guys who've put downward deposits for the Icon A5 are not flying, that tool the aircraft is figure aircraft newbies. Following in time and a part of flyer period, Hawkins lands us on the aeroport lane, a maneuver how you can gear following you've assimilated several water supply fishing. It's a bit trickier with it requires more than accuracy and expertise on crosswinds. At the spot, if I belonging the aircraft, I'd crochet it up to a caravan, stack the Inspire up, driving it household, and garden it in the parking garage. For those who aren't prepared to membrane out $207,000 to buy a, down there's the stock option of Break by Icon's learning installation in Tampa, or the installation in Vacaville, California, to fly for the date. The kind of sports flyer introduce grade is 1.5 several hours for $595. To stump your kind of sports airman license, you will requirement to expend 20 advantage several hours and price varies.